Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. Just landed here in New Orleans, Louisiana, and what an honor to be joined by the original New Orleans bass player, Paul Boudreaux. An honor to welcome you to the Jake Feinberg Show. How you doing?
Hello. We're in New Orleans.
Can you talk to the audience about growing up in Napoleonville, or your mom grew up there?
Yeah.
And the plantation life that existed between, and the relationship between the slaves and the Indians.
Yeah. I was told by my mother, I was born in New Orleans, but every summer, I remember we all spent time in my grandmother's house in Napoleonville, and she lived on a plantation. It's called Martin's Plantation. And they were like, I guess at that point, sharecroppers.
So they were your dad they were getting some kind of pay. They weren't totally slaves.
Yeah, we were living off. Well, this time it was free, and we're living off the land. Living off the land, they grew their own crops, chicken, cows. They had, they fed themselves, And my uncle, my grandfather would work in the fields. They would drive tractor and they would cut sugar cane and they got paid. I don't know how much. I know it wasn't that much, but they made something. They made a living, But and I was told stories about in the past how the Indians would actually would hide the runaway slaves, in their camps, and they would disguise them as Indians, and that formed some kind of a bond, so I was told that the Boudreaux Indians is from that situation.
I know. This is why I love talking to people, cats like you, man. I mean, prior to the slave trade, that was still a relationship.
Yeah.
The natives and the and blacks that were here.
Yeah.
This even predates slavery.
Right.
How far away were the Indian camps, reservations?
Now that I can't tell you, but I know they had Homer Indians. They're still out there. They still have a reservation somewhere in Homer, and I would imagine somewhere around Labradorville or in that area they had Indians, because a lot of the towns are still named after Indians,
Here's the crux of it. What was astonishing in our radio interviews was the fact that you said that, in fact, the slaves got the tambourines and the sticks from the Indians.
Yeah.
They'd come back. They would actually.
Yeah.
Can you explain about how those rhythms merged? Because, like you said, there was a call and response thing going on.
Yeah.
But the Indians played flutes pretty much, but yet they were given the rhythm stuff.
Wooden flutes, yeah.
Can you explain the best you can about the merging of those two?
Well, from what the guys tell me, the Indian guys, the old school guys, they actually masked and sew. That they was taught how to sew beads, because Indians they made their own beads out of beans and rocks and stones, and they taught these guys slaves how to sew, so-called sew, and also they would hang around, I guess, with the African rhythm and the Indian rhythm. They came up with this two-way pocket way. I don't know what the hell that means, but
two-way pocket.
It's two-way pocket way,
Two-way pocket way.
Yeah, I don't know what it means, but I don't know if that's a combination of something they got from the Indians and they merged into what they, but that's a typical song that they sing in New Orleans, that's a phrase they use. I don't know what it means,
I love it. I love it. It just
I
makes
really
it.
don't, man. But I've been hearing it all my life, two-way pocket way, and it's a call and response thing, Early one morning, I'm up and shine, head two-way pocket way, I'm a Boudreaux Indian, I'm gonna do mine or whatever, and it's been an Indian chant, and these guys, every Boudreaux morning you hear this, man, all day long, man. You follow the Indians, they're singing these Indian songs, man, that they that merged from I guess from that period, that camp,
When you first start, I want you to talk to the audience about this, because you were a big Jamerson fanatic. Can you talk about how the bass played counterpoint to the vocals in the music? We seem to have lost that in music today, but Jamerson's bass lines were always playing counterpoint to the vocals. Can you talk about that?
Well, his bass line never stepped on the vocals, and he was able to play fills, bass fills in between a vocal line, and also in between a horn line, and he was known for that, like not stepping on nobody's toes, but he played very busy, although he played pattern, but he played very busy for a bass player. And when I heard that, man, the bass was like way out front of the music, it was, the drum and bass like way out front on Motown stuff, and that was new, and it reminded me of what I heard in New Orleans with the syncopation bass lines, like a lot of the Earl King sessions, the bass was like playing syncopated notes against that swing backbeat.
It's so great. So besides Earl King, you heard this stuff before you started hearing Motown.
Yeah.
Who were the other cats that were cooking that groove? And also, like, what was the? I mean, was the rhythm section just with I don't know, early rock and roll and stuff? Was it just in the background, or how did Jamerson make it? Why was it so up front? How did it make it any different?
Well, his playing, his ability to put bass fills in between a little space. He was able to do that, and you hear the bass line, then you hear this awesome pickup or this run, and it don't step on anybody's toe, man. And he was known for that, so I guess Barry Gardner said, man, I got to put this out front, You hear the bass on all of them, like Bernadette, Made to Love You, all that stuff, man. That bass is like pumping all the time, man. And it made bass players, man, like want to say, hey, man, I want to be a bass player, real bad, I knew guys playing guitar, man, wanted to be bass players because of Jamerson,
Well, absolutely. I mean, you were right there, but how did you take his influence and then make your own sound? I mean, you are tight. I played an audio clip of our interview for George Porter Jr. in our second interview, and he freaked out.
Yeah.
He's like, Paul Boudreaux, I mean, how did you create your own individual sound?
From hearing the guys tell the truth, and in the little local bar rooms, these guys, these are unspoken heroes, unsung heroes.
Unsung heroes.
These guys, man, they in there drinking wine. You got a little three-piece band in a dark corner of this little corner bar room, which was in New Orleans. There was a bar room on every corner, So you got these guys, man. These guys are playing different bass lines, that you hear recorded in New Orleans. These guys playing different bass lines because they self-taught, right?
Absolutely.
So they playing only what they know, and I listen at that because I'm right there looking at them. I could feel the bass, and that inspired me. So a lot of my style comes from hearing those guys, and going to hear guys like George Porter because I learned to play bass in the Army, and I remember hearing George Porter playing with different guys, and he inspired me too, because he was a guy like my age. I said, look at this guy my age, man. He playing bass, and I fell in love with the bass, man.
Were you seeing him at frat parties? Like, where were you seeing him at? Because it was pre-meters.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. But he was playing a place called Club 808 Uptown, and
the Ivanhoe too. Is that?
Well, Ivanhoe was on Bourbon Street. Now by that time I was playing bass because I was in the Army, so that's like around '68.
And who were you there with? Eddie Bowe?
Eddie Bowe.
And so the meters they'd open, right?
They would play the matinee, and they played till about maybe like 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock.
The matinee was.
The matinee was still late.
I dig.
And we come in for we call it the graveyard shift, man. We start like 11 o'clock and play till daybreak. We do 6 hours.
Wow.
45-15 with Eddie Bo. You know.
You'd be walking out of the club, people were going to church.
Sun coming up, man.
Sun coming up,
man. This daybreak, eyes hurting, you know, fingers hurting. With a pocket full of money, you know.
Absolutely. No, I mean, this is like, you know, one cat I wanted to ask you about. We lost him a couple months ago. Is Charlie Neville.
Oh, Jesus.
Can you talk about his legacy to not just New Orleans, but I mean, I caught a couple great hangs with that cat. He's such a beautiful cat. He's the only one that actually left New Orleans.
Yeah.
He just got tired of the
Yeah.
of the bias
Yeah,
and the shit.
Yeah.
What's his legacy? I mean, when did he come on your radar? What's his significance to music?
I was playing with a band called Black Sunshine. You know, it was a Hammond organ, me on bass, guitar player, drums. You know, and we was interviewing. We was auditioning sax players. You know, Gary Brown came in. You know, and Charles Neville had just got back in town. You know,
because he was in Angola for a minute.
Yeah.
With James Black.
Yeah.
They were both in prison together.
Yeah. And he came from I think New York. And Bobby Love, organ player, he knew Charlie, you know. Now I've heard of Charlie, but never met Charlie. I knew Aaron and Art and Cyril, you know. So when Charles came down, man, I met him, man, and the first thing that impressed me was like, he got that Neville thing, you know. He got that it thing, you know. And he became our sax player for a short time, you know. And I got to meet Shemaine Neville, you know, his daughter. I said, whoa, you know. And she was another very talented lady, you know, very talented.
Charles's daughter.
Yeah, Shemaine Neville, yeah. She's like jazz, blues, funk, rock, kind of a singer. She's awesome, man, awesome, yeah.
You know,
but Charles Neville, man, he always man, such a good person from his heart, man. Charles would give you straight off his back, you know. He's that kind of a guy, man. Very cool person, and the loss was like, man, like it touched everybody, you know, because Charles was like the mild mannered Neville, you know.
Out of all those cats, right? I mean, because
cool
they're all
guy.
burning inside. They're all crazy, you know,
Yeah.
and they're in a good way. But
Yeah.
I mean, even Ian, I interviewed Ian Neville, Art's son, and he was like, Charlie called up one day, and Art's like, your uncle wants to talk to you because he had just gotten in trouble with something, and Charlie basically said, you know, I'm not bummed out with you of what you did. He's like, I'm bummed out that you got caught.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, we're going through a really interesting time in this country.
Yeah.
And I just wanted you to relay the story, a very powerful story you told me in our first interview. I think you were on the road with Joe Simon.
Yeah.
And the truck stop when I guess it was in Alabama.
Yeah.
And the truckers. Can you take us through that story and how it? I mean, it wasn't like things were perfect, but at the same time, it showed a level of humanity that I feel is kind of lacking today.
Yeah. Well, what happened, man? We was right in the midst of doing a 41 one-nighters. Joe Simon had the hit out, choking kind. So he was booked with.
You were with Toussaint, with Alan Toussaint.
At one point, recording that at C-Cent. Yeah, I did that. But at that time, I was playing with Joe Simon, the soul singer, and he had this hit choking kind. So
He still won't answer my calls.
You know?
No, he will.
I get him.
Yeah.
I get him for you.
Anyway, you were on the road with Simon.
Yeah. And we had been traveling, man. Like we had came from Detroit, and we had come from Detroit. We're going down to someplace in Mississippi, you know. But we came through Alabama, you know, and we stopped. It's about, man, maybe like about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you know. We tired, man, hungry. We see this truck stop. We said, man, let's stop, get something to eat, man, you know. So we got a long haul, you know. So we stopped, went in there, man, and this waitress, she didn't. First she ignored us. Then we said, look, can we get some help? And then she said, well, we're not gonna serve you. We can't serve y'all. Y'all got to leave, you know. And Joe Simon, my boss, he said, man, miss, we just want something to eat. He said, can we get something to go? He said, we can't take y'all. We cannot serve you, you know. And these truckers, you know, these guys have been traveling with us, you know, because, you know, You know, you see the trucks and the
Well,
bus.
we didn't have the highway system. I mean, you were on the same. You were seeing them all the way
That
down.
guy would see our bus. You know, we stop at for same route almost. He said, "Look, miss," he said, "these guys have been traveling as long as we have. You know, they say if they're hungry, feed them." He said, "And if you don't, I will get on this." At that time was the CB radios. He said, "I would tell every trucker coming this way to not stop in this place." And at that time, the owner or the manager came out. "What's going on?" You know, 'cause he was cussing out real bad, man. You know, he was hitting the doggone thing, man. Had the forks and spoons dancing on
The trucker was.
The trucker, yeah.
He was hot.
Yeah, he's mad, man. You know, it's a white guy. White guy. You know, big beard, man. The guy came out and said, said, "What's going on?" And she tried to explain, and he said, "No, this is what's happening." He said, "These guys have been traveling. They got money. They want to eat." He said, "Why can't they eat?" And he said, "If they don't eat in here, you don't serve them." He said, "I will CB the radio,
CB
talk
radio,
everybody that's coming this way to pass this place up." And he thought for a second and said, "Look, give them what they want." And look, here's
It's just food. I mean, it's just it's business for them.
But
What-
she would. I guess she found all orders, you know.
Absolutely.
She was told. Not to.
Absolutely.
So anyway, man. So the ironic part about this story is, you look in the back, and all the cooks are black. All the cooks in the kitchen are black, and they back there. They scared, man. That we're gonna cause trouble. They're gonna lose their job. You know. But the ironic part is, at that point, they can hire black people to cook for you, but don't serve us, you know. So yeah, man. Anyway, we got our food. We felt safe because it said, "Well, we got some black cooks," you know. So we felt safe about the food. We said, "Well, let's eat, man."
Well, that's what I was going to say too. I mean, after you wonder what they would, but I mean, you knew you were relatively safe. I mean, have we? Why can't we get over the hump in this country, man?
You know, right now, man, the tone is kind of bad right now, man, because people are somewhat confused right now.
Is it fear or confused? I mean, fear is what drives.
It's both. It's fear too. You know, fear of you gonna take something from me. You know, this all across the board. It's not just the white. It's blacks too, and Spanish. It's everybody. You know, it's a fear time right now. You know, like you're gonna lose out something because somebody else gonna take something from you. You know, it could be your neighbor. It's just a fear thing. You know, and that's the tone of America right now, which is not good. It's not good. You know, but
can you account?
America can bounce back because we always bounce back. You know, excuse my voice, my horse, man.
No, you're doing great. People are having a ball.
We've been doing
Keep the comments coming. Sybil Thomas, by the way, is loving this interview.
Yeah.
Did you play with Rufus or only Isaac Hayes at Hot Butter? I mean, we're talking about a guy that was doing the Hot Buttered Soul review with Luther Ingram here.
Well, he was on the show with us. You know, on that review, he was there. You know, it was on that review, it was Luther Ingram, Rufus Thomas, Carla Thomas, Booker T and the MGs, and the Barcade was the backup band for the Stax review. You know, and Luther wanted his own band, so that's how I was able to get the gig with Luther Ingram. You know, and we went up there and rehearsed with those guys, man. And I'm sitting there in Stax studio every day, man. You know, like we had nothing else to do but just go check in at Stax. You know. So we go in there, we checking in the morning, sign in the morning, and we sit there, we just jam all day, you know, and through the course of the day, you will see Steve come in, you know, speak to us, and maybe down, he come in.
Duck and Cropper would come by,
David Porter, Eddie Floyd, all the
David Porter's tuning in right now. This is heavy
the guys,
stuff, man.
All the staple singers. I was sitting on this session when they were recording one of their albums, you know, and they'll come in with Pop Staple. And we was able to like sit there and see them work, you know, see them actually record, you know, how they did it, you know. And Pop was always like, you know, that's his daughters, you know, and they, you know, at that time they bring their own little liquor bottle, you know. And they never got drunk, but they taste all day.
Little buzz,
man. Yeah, man, and they get the job done. You know, and it was so good, man, to be in Stax, to actually see the masters at work, you know, the engineers and how they produce music, you know, and it really taught me a lot because I saw like firsthand how to like. I remember Luther doing a track, a vocal track. It took him 3 weeks before they were satisfied with the vocal track. And I'm thinking like the first track sounded good to me, but then Luther, go back. I want more of you in there. You know. I said, what are you talking about?
That's a lot more meticulous than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and then when they finally get what they want, and when you hear it as a whole, you're hearing that hit. You see, you know, you're hearing that hit. So that's how hits are made. You know, they don't accept the mediocre part of it. That's good enough. No. We want pull your soul out on this, you know, on this vocal. You know.
But that's really fast. But that's post production, or you were literally in there for 3 weeks. Or was the rhythm track already laid down? And
that was done.
That was done. This is what I want you to talk to the audience
about.
That
was done.
Because my generation, as a Gen Xer and younger cats, just by the mere fact that there's so much information out there, we've intellectualized the music so much.
Yeah.
And you really should. You can't intellectualize blues, and in my mind, you can't really intellectualize jazz. And what I wanted to ask you about was a time in the studio. Could have been with Toussaint. Could have been with Bobby Williams. The instant arrangements that would take place when you walked in.
Well, that's what I like, man, because Eddie Bo, he would never restrict us. You know, he would you know, he would say, look, guys, I want you guys in the studio 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You know, we don't know where we're going. You know, it didn't even matter.
There were no charts.
No, man.
I love this stuff.
Sometimes he have like chord changes written out. He'd be still writing the chord changes. Sure. But he would never have an idea of what he want, you know. But he wouldn't have a bass line too much. He wouldn't have a guitar riff, but he have like a piano thing, you know. 'Cause he played piano, you know. He said it's like this, you know, and we'd listen at it and kind of figure out what to do with it. And it was real good because at that time he was putting the music production in our hand. You see, you know, we didn't know that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You know?
He was empowering essentially the sideman to be creative. Man.
Yes, and that was so good because that was more rewarding than me playing a written out bass line. You see, or somebody else's idea. So I was able to like come up with my own bass lines for the song, which was very good. You know. And as a young guy just starting to play bass, nobody knew who I was. They said, Paul Boudreaux. With Joe Simon, Paul Boudreaux with Eddie Bo. Who is Paul Boudreaux? You know,
what year is this? Like 67?
68. I got out.
So you were.
I got out in the May of 67, and I played around town for that summer. And by December, I was in the mix with Eddie Bo. I was in it. You know.
Was that characteristic of? I mean, Alan might be an outlier, but besides Eddie. Were all the leaders like that? Like they recognized that they understood their genius, but that they all respected the accompanists? Or was it different?
No. Eddie Bo was a sort of renegade kind of guy. Man. He took chances, you know. And
I love
music was going into a funk thing. Since James Brown had created this new funk thing, you know, and Watts, the guy with the funky Broadway, all that. It was funk time, you know. And what Eddie Bo,
George Benson,
yeah. And what Eddie Bo heard in me and with Bobby Williams was we pushed the buttons on songs, you know. We never played the songs exactly like they go. We would take it and we would push the hell out of it, you know. And he liked that aggressive bass playing I was doing at that time. Even for a beginner, I was aggressive with it, you know. And he liked that. And he liked Bobby Williams playing, and he just decided to make us his session musician because he wanted to go into the funk direction, you know. Not so much the R&B, but the kind of funk that was a new thing at that time, you know. And we was definitely available, you know, for him, you know. And we was his backup band on the live shows. So that next morning, meet me in the studio, you know, and we just put track out after track, man. Inez Cheatham, Mary Jane Hooper, Eddie Bo had, song after song. Shelly Pope, he was a DJ. We did a song for him called Shelly's Rubber Band, with Curly Moe singing, And Curly Moe was one of the singers from Huey Smith and the Clowns.
Going way back in the lineage of New Orleans. How I want David Rubenson, the great producer. He was talking about Wah Wah Watson being the best wah wah guitar player.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about a cat who George Davis. How did you guys? How did you stay out of each other's way? And was he the best wah wah guitar player you ever played with?
Well, George Davis, I played with him a couple of times on sessions, never on a live gig, But I worked with him with James Black on Hook and Sling,
Hook and Sling.
Part 1 and Part 2, And that's the only time I had in common with George Davis. But he was known as one of New Orleans' finest guitar players at that time,
You got a gig now, man.
That's my boys, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
Just one before I let you go.
Yeah.
How have you always learned to look towards the light and away from fear? What's your advice to people that are suffering right now? Why should they still look towards hope rather than fear?
Well, if a man don't have a dream, if a man don't dream of something, or being something, or going somewhere, he's lost. He's a lost soul. You have to follow your dream, follow your dream, follow your dreams, no matter how big it seems. If it's too big, good, go for it. If you get just a little piece of that dream, you're successful because you follow that dream and you touch on that dream.
I dig, man. I dig.
Don't quit. I never quit, man. I've been doing this since I bought the bass in the Army. I bought a bass in the Army in 1965 and never put the bass down, And it brought me to where I'm at right now. Self-taught musician, successful, playing music, doing something I love. I had a dream. I wanted to be a bass player, and that's what I am. I'm a bass player.
One thing, it's so beautiful. A dream fulfilled.
Hang on, Terry.
If you play any covers today, please turn them inside out and upside down.
We do, always.
Yeah, I love Paul Boudreaux, man.
Jake, thank you, Jake.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
We'll be back on the Jake Feinberg Show later.